I wouldn't want anyone to feel this much pain ever. So I warn them, don't have kids. What's up, guys? It's Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer, and welcome back to my channel, where we are about halfway through the big winter storm of January 2026 that is covering much of the United States. Here in Texas, everything is pretty frozen, and it's going to be for a couple of days, so the entire Austin metro area is shut down. Which, as someone who grew up in New England, I think is really cute. Anyway, today we're taking a look at some stories written by folks who are here to tell you in no uncertain terms that having kids is a curse. So let's check them out. But first, on every video on this channel, I encourage, beg, and plead with all animal lovers out there, please consider fostering or volunteering on site for your local animal shelter. This is my current foster, Goldie. She's an 8-month-old Belgian Shepherd who is just gorgeous as she can be. And if you love animals, there is a shelter or rescue near you that desperately needs your help, because every shelter and rescue on Earth is in need of volunteers and fosters. So please consider helping out. Do your part to save the world. Do it for the animals. Thank you. Okay, so this first post is from the Child Free sub. And as always, please remember, I don't make this content to mock or shame people who regret having children in any way. I just want to spread information and give my opinion about the situation. So hopefully in the future, people will think a little longer and a little harder about whether or not they actually are ready and actually want kids. So this is from a deleted account. Having children is a curse to women. And it's a rant. This might be biased and personal thinking, but I truly think women's lives can be so much better without kids. Same girl, same. 1. Carrying and giving birth to kids causes irreversible damage to women's bodies in terms of gaining weight, changing body shape, aging faster, etc. My friend gave birth 5 years ago and still is leaking pee all the time. Oh, that's nice. Just one of the many glorious things about being female and having children. Number 2, financial freedom and career blocker. Yeah, somebody's got to raise those kids. And the thing is, if you are a rich person who chooses to have your career and have children and you hire nannies to raise your kids, that's just not the flex that you think it is. You know, if you really want to have kids and be a parent, then someone needs to be home with them. You need to be present. And I say that as someone who grew up with parents who were not present 99% of the time. Sexism exists, and women already get paid less than men. A woman might get fired or won't be hired if she is pregnant. Very true. Also, she's less likely to get a job promotion. And if she is a single mom, she will literally have to work 2 jobs and spend all her money on the kids. Yeah. I don't know how to solve the issues that single moms face, except don't become a single mom. And I realize that's idiotic to say, but there is nothing good about being a single mom except you don't have a partner to also be one of your kids. She goes on, that's why many single moms are so desperate to look for a man and end up in a toxic relationship. Absolutely, 100%. That's why my mom ended up with a narcissist, an abusive narcissist, to whom she is still married 50 years later. But that's another video. Also, single moms face so many stigmas in society, and the men will complain about paying child support all the time. Number 3, if the woman becomes a stay-at-home mom, meaning she has to give up her financial independence to a man and her life will be fucked. Just how many women can't leave an abusive and cheating relationship because of that? Yeah, and that is always, with almost without exception, that's the first thing that a toxic, narcissistic, whatever you want to call it, we all know them when we see them. An abusive person, the first thing they do is get their target to be separated from their income, get them to quit their job. My stepfather immediately got my mother to quit her job. She was teaching hairdressing. Anyway, moving on. They go on. Just how many men cheat during the pregnancy of their wives or girlfriends? Even if she works, childcare is still primarily her duty just because she is a woman. Yes, the mom is almost also, without exception, the default parent. Although sometimes it's the dad, but mostly the mom. Number 4, having a kid will emotionally strain the woman. Even though there's no money problems, women mostly would still stay in an abusive or cheating relationship because they want their kids to have a father, or for the sake of the kids. Yet those women will complain about it every day. Yeah, I have seen that in action as well. If a woman is child-free, she can leave an unhappy or toxic relationship. Fuck yeah, she can, and she does. She can leave an unhappy or toxic relationship anytime she wants and make as much money as she wants. If you worry about being alone when you are old, oh Jesus, can we put this one to bed finally? People have been saying this for hundreds of years probably, and it's such nonsense. Having offspring is no kind of a guarantee that you won't die alone, maybe in your sleep if you're lucky, but there's no guarantee your kids are going to be your servants and wipe your ass when you're older. Just that's not why you should be having kids. That is a completely selfish way. And yet it's the child-free people who get called selfish. I do not understand. She goes on, don't worry about that. As a social worker who used to work in a seniors agency, even if you married and had kids, you could still be alone. Kids have their own life. They got no time for you. And men, the husband, 95% of the time, they will die much earlier than you. At old age, you will become the caretaker for your husband. It is always the wife to take care of the husband, but rarely the opposite. Imagine you stay in a toxic relationship when you are young and still have to take care of the abuser when you are old. It becomes a habit, you know. Some people just cannot stop. They cannot live without the focus being on someone else. And she finishes with, I will never have kids. Fin. Fin is finished in French. Isn't that what they show at the end of French art house films? The comments on here. Dom.com said, period. I love being a child-free woman. Wouldn't change it for the world. Crazy K Chick said, and her flair is, uterus free since April 2024. Good on you, girl. And she commented, shit, our reproductive system is a curse in itself. Yeah, it's the evolution didn't fare well for human females. We don't even have to have children to go through immense pain. If I don't stay a certain weight and not lose too much, I get incredibly sick, like anemic when I have my periods. I also have complicated, complex menstrual migraines. Oh, I am very fortunate to have never had a migraine, but I know tons of people that do have them, and there just shouldn't be any such thing. They go on, no wonder having a child has never looked like a happy thing to me. My uterus has brought me nothing but misery, and I will be happy to have it gone in a few weeks. And this comment she made 2 years ago, so she has since gone through with it. And good for her. She's happy with her choice. Spicy Fusilier 21 said, I remember being an 11-year-old and thinking, why am I a woman? It's like everything has been made to set us back. I look forward to menopause, but even that comes with its own set of problems. Yes, and as a 55-year-old woman who is post-menopause, about 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. You're post-menopause, as I understand it, when you go 1 year without a period. So that 1 year is in menopause, and then after that, you're post-menopause. As if it's over, you know, but no, you can still have all the fucked up symptoms that have absolutely no evolutionary biological purpose, like the night sweats that I have. And I have such horrific night sweats, and they started like the minute I turned 35. You're not thinking about menopause at 35, but it was the same for my mother, and I follow her, biologically, metabolically. And if I don't take a gummy at night to sleep, a THCA gummy, legal in all 50 states, I have horrible. I mean, when you wake up cold and soaking wet, every part of your body soaking wet, the sheets soaking wet. Sometimes I'd have to change my pajamas 2 or 3 times. What is the point of that? What is the point? And so if I take a gummy, I sleep like a normal fucking human. Anyway, they said they look forward to menopause. So, in Gen X days, you were taught almost to be scared of menopause and to dread it and to dread getting old. And 40 was like, oh my God, 40, your life is over. Like, just give up. And so I didn't really think about menopause. And then I turned 35 and I'm like, man, I'm already perimenopause. And I was perimenopause for 15 years until I stopped getting a period. But just because you stop getting a period, like the night sweats, I had some hot flashes for a few years, but, the brain fog is kind of around. I definitely walk into a room every day and forget why I am in there. But I am so relieved that I don't have that oppressive fear of pregnancy. Because I can't tell you how many recurring, oh my God, I'm pregnant dreams I've had. It's horrible. Bittercup commented, the female reproductive systems is one of the biggest evolutionary mistakes ever. Yeah, I'm not a biologist and I don't know anything about it, but I really think it's a bad design. It's so easy to get a UTI. Like, I've been thinking my whole life that your not your uterus, your urethra should be higher up where the clitoris is, and the clitoris should be where the urethra is. What the hell am I saying? And I know that's crazy, but I am someone who is extremely prone to urinary tract infections, particularly from sex, no matter what I did. And, on top of that, having to worry about getting pregnant. And now that I am postmenopause and I am currently in my going on 3 years of being partner free by choice and not having, and therefore being celibate by choice. Celibate is kind of a weird word. It doesn't really define what this concept is these days. Maybe sex-free. I don't know. Anyway, I don't have to worry about any of that. And I mean, just being able to have sex and having no chance of getting pregnant is fucking great. So yes, ladies, there are things to look forward to with menopause. And there are plenty of women who don't have any symptoms. They just stop getting a period. So anyway, the point is bad evolutionary design. Okay, moving on to Striking Friends post. And I want to say I read this post when it was new. It's 2 years old right now, and my channel's a little over 2 years old. So I think I already covered this post before, but it is so prevalent, and we so desperately need to make sure that this doesn't happen to people anymore. And they say, why didn't more people warn us? I'm brand new to this group, and I'm already in tears reading some of these posts. I feel like I wrote them. I'm nearly 10 years into being a parent, dad, with 2 wild boys. And every week, if not every day, I'm consumed with the feeling of regret for making the decisions that led me here. I can't escape the regret. I'm constantly thinking about how I'm not the person I wanted to be, but it changes you whether or not you're ready for that or want that. Yeah, that is really something that needs to be talked about more, is that your life ends when you have a child, the life that you knew. And now everything has to be about this baby for a while. You have to be vigilant in caring and being present for your kid, in my humble opinion. And so you are not the person you were before you had kids. They go on. You cannot continue to be the individual you were before, nor the truest version of who you want to be. That all goes out the window when you have kids. And it pisses me off to no end that American societal expectations dictate that you have to go to college, get married, and have children to be an acceptable and successful person. It's ridiculous. Yes, sir, it is ridiculous. There is no one path to a good life. There is no one path to education. There is no one path to wisdom. There is no one path to happiness. So this guy felt the pressure. I always like to hear from men on these stories because there are more similarities in how they feel than differences, I think. He goes on, I don't understand why more people in my life weren't honest with me about the insane difficulties of dealing with and raising children. I don't understand why people do this. Well, they do it, in my opinion, partly because they've been brainwashed into feeling that they can't ever talk about the negatives. You can't ever say you regret your baby. And so they just talk about the positive things, and that has to stop. I mean, there are so many people stuck in this place, and it's so sad because, as I always say, 21st century information, anything you want to know at your fingertips. I don't know what the answer is here, but, these folks need to at least babysit a little bit before they decide to have kids. It would just seem so logical to me, but unfortunately not. So he goes on, I've never felt more trapped, stressed, depressed, and I fear I'll never get over these feelings. And does he say how old he is? No, just that he's 10 years in. And will forever be resentful towards my wife for twisting my arm to have the second kid when I told her I didn't think I could handle it. Poor guy. And also towards my youngest for being the most difficult child to deal with on a daily basis. I wasn't meant for this, but here we are. Oh, it gives me like a nauseous feeling. The feeling of this guy is just trapped. And why couldn't they just stop at one kid? The answer is always no. Don't have kids. If you already have one kid, don't have another kid. However many kids you have, don't have another kid. Because there's so many of these stories that seem like they've gotten to the straw that breaks the camel's back. And it doesn't matter what your gender is, how much money you have, or any of that. You can get caught in this life because kids are forever. There is no trying out being a parent unless you walk away. Okay, the comments on this. Mystique Evening said, like others wrote, other parents lie about how happy they are because they will be rebuked by relatives and society. It's disgusting. I warn people now. I beg them not to have kids, especially when their marriage or struggles are already rocky. I love my kids so much, but for example, the anxiety I get every time they eat and I think they're choking is horrible. Or riding their bikes into the road while a car slams on their brakes, the anxiety I get from their future suffering or pain makes me hate this existence. Being a parent isn't a blessing, it's a curse. I freaking love my kids. It's why I hurt so bad. I love humans in general. I wouldn't want anyone to feel this much pain ever. So I warn them, don't have kids. Wow, sage advice. RT777, if you don't mind me asking, do you think that the terrible experience of having kids trumps the potential regret one might feel in their deathbed if they decided not to have kids? Yes, the terrible experience of having kids does trump any minor regret you have about not having children. This is so stupid why people keep asking, where are these people? It's usually women, you wouldn't really ask this of men, but where are they all? All these women who are laying on their deathbed, and that's what they're thinking was, I wish I had children so someone could be here. What the fuck? Or to put it differently, they go on, or to put it differently, do you think you will also regret having kids on your deathbed? Sorry for the morbid question, LOL. Yeah, that's possible. I bet you there's more people regretting their decision to have offspring on their deathbed than there are people regretting not having offspring, because the ones who didn't have, who chose not to have, not people who desperately wanted kids and couldn't have them for whatever reason, but people who chose not to have, they have done all of the things they wanted to do, or many of the things they wanted to do. They have experienced life's rich tapestry rather than tying themselves to children and changing diapers and all of the other things that come with how you have to give up everything so that your kids can grow up to be stable. Mystique Evening responded, yeah, I think I would rather not have kids and die, quote unquote, alone than to see my children suffer traumatically in any number of ways. However, that isn't true for everyone. Also, many die alone and isolated after having children for many reasons. Hopefully, a person, child-free or a parent, would spend their time being a wonderful person to those around them, so they would have plenty of loved ones at their bedside. What is this obsession with having, as one of my brilliant subs commented once, and I really wish I could remember who this was. So if you're listening, subscriber, and you are the person that said, my death is not a spectator sport, please raise your hand, because I love that expression. And that's exactly how I feel. I don't want people standing there watching me die. I don't need anyone to hold my hand. I need people to hold my hand in life. I can die on my own. I mean, I'm just going to become one with the universe, and leave this human suit behind. And I can do that by myself. I don't need people standing around validating my existence. I don't understand this obsession. They go on, but it is a good question for anyone to ponder. Let me edit to say, I don't say I regret having kids. I love my kids. I regret everything about who I am and how I function and how my thoughts ruin me and all my anxiety and depression and loneliness and isolation. I regret who I am now when I was a bubbly, outgoing person before. Now I'm dark and angsty and lonely. I regret that. But I don't regret my kids. I love them and everything they are. Well, at least there's that. You got that going for you. And finally, this post is from a year ago. It's by user Glitter Me Purple, and it's just called, Is This a Fucking Curse? Parents only. Other comments will be auto-removed. Is it? Is it? Before I had my sweet girl, she really is the most wonderful person. My life was enjoyable. A career, my own damn money, no child, and no fuck-ass baby daddy. I swear to God, this is one of the most humiliating things I've ever done in my life. Motherhood. What a fucking joke. What a lie. A sham. A trap. Wow. Yeah. I mean, she goes on, but good for her for just coming right out and saying it. Women suffer the most, it seems. Everything I had is just not what it was. I was proud of me. Now I'm a single mother, never married, on welfare. I mean, the list goes on. I don't feel self-pity. I feel hatred, anger, bitterness, resentment. It's all bubbling up, and I don't even know if this post makes sense. I've been crying on and off for weeks at this point because I'm so fucking tired. I know I look like a single mother. I just know I give off that energy, and it's so depressing. Wow, I really feel that. Like, I can imagine what that must be like. She doesn't really say, like, how old she is. I just get the sense she's, like, 20s, early 20s. I don't know. But wow, if I had had the kid that when the first time I got pregnant, I would be this girl. She goes on, I'm a laid back, chilled out woman, and I love living that way. But holy fuck, I haven't been able to stop stressing and living in fear of my daughter being hurt somehow for over 4 years. So on the inside, in my head, is this raging battle of feeling completely worthless, low, disgusting, ugly, and pathetic. Does any of this make any sense? Nobody else seems to get it. But the wonderful people of Reddit did get it, and then she put an edit. Thank you, all caps. You guys are wonderful. I forgot I posted this because I got swallowed up in life yesterday, but I'm seeing this at 6 a.m. and I'm bawling. I hope all of you have a wonderful day and life, parenting included. Deleted account said, I'm a single working mom too, and I feel you. I have a 7-year-old son with me 24/7 outside of work. No help, and I'm burnt to a crisp. I don't know how I'm going to get a career because I make nothing working dead-end jobs. They have to fit my son's schedule since he's in school from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I can only work part-time, so I can't afford anything. I hear you so much, my friend. Sending you hugs and support. And the OP responded, the working is what baffles me. If I get a job and make even $1 too much, they cut our benefits. Sending you love right back. Opposite Shock said, I completely understand. I feel the exact same way. I feel embarrassed and ashamed of my life. I can barely function because I have so much social anxiety. God, I feel that so hard. If I had gotten pregnant and had kids when I was younger, that's exactly how I would feel, because that was not my plan. I never wanted children. I couldn't wait to get out of the house so I could have my childhood, because I spent much of my own childhood taking care of my 3 younger brothers. So maybe that was a good thing, and I learned real young that motherhood of humans was not going to be for me. As far as being a mother to all the animals that I've ever met in my life, I was born to do that. And that's fine. Not everyone is meant to reproduce, especially now. It also doesn't help that I had my son young, so people just assume I'm a white trash piece of shit. Oh. I bet the other parents and teachers at my son's school have placed bets on when I'm bringing the next kid to school and if they'll have a different father from my son or not. I only have 1 kid and I don't plan on more, but I'm sure I give off single mom with multiple baby daddy vibes. Wow. And Glitter Me Purple, the OP, said, yes, the looks. And it doesn't help that my kid sees other kids with both parents. And she's like, where's my dad? In front of people. Thank God I'm darker, because then nobody can see the hot flames of embarrassment on my face. All right. Well, that's what I have for you today, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments about these posts. You know, we have all heard the expression, children are a blessing, mostly in a religious connotation, but children are generally in society today considered a gift, a blessing, etc. But the people who wrote these posts would beg to differ. So let me know what you think. And please like, subscribe, hype this video if you can, if you're so inclined. And thank you so much for stopping by to hear me talk shit on the internet. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.